today's anime review, we get to cover another 60s anime from the 60s. Once again, for today's anime review is Speed Racer. Here he comes. Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels. Speed Racer is a 1967 Japanese anime series that premiered as an anime series on April 2nd, 1967, which is probably around the same time as Golden Bat, 1967 anime was probably airing at the time as well. When it comes to 60s anime, it was originally known as Mach Go Go Go, particularly, as how Speed Racer had a lot to do, particularly as well. For the plot story in Speed Racer is probably Speed Racer drives the fabulous Mach 5 in race after race. Although the prize money isn't his true goal, he seeks to be the best racer in the world and try to defeat the mysterious Racer X, not knowing that Racer X is actually his lost brother, Rex Racer. That's probably how his rival, particularly a sibling rivalry in the racing as well, for how you expect in Speed Racer. The races don't take place upon the boring circular tracks that one might expect instead. They tend to involve the countryside and rough and dangerous terrain. This is where the Mach 5 special features, such as the super traction tires and jumping struts, come in very handy, which is basically all in one thing in the process. Speed must also deal with villains, ranging from the unscrupulous racers to thieves and spies, but he has the help of Trixie, his little brother Sprittle, and the pet monkey Chim Chim along the way. So that's the story on Speed Racer, how it goes. So for the thing about Speed Racer, it's probably originally known in Japan as Mach Go Go Go, because it's created by the company Tatsunoko Production, which is known for their work such as Super Dimension Fortress Macross, Gatchaman series, as well as Neon Genesis Evangelion Death and Rebirth, as well as Genesis Climber Mospieta, Outlanders, and also Gatchaman Crowds, forgot to mention. And also, they all are known for their work, such as Tekkaman Blade, which I forgot to mention. Anyway, so for Speed Racer, however, I mean, this is probably how it's still a blast to watch, how basically the theme song is performed by Danny Davis and the Nashville Brass Group as well. Is particularly how it's the English opening theme to Speed Racer, particularly as well. And yeah, this has been adapted from the number of series, such as another adaptation like Speed Racer X, and also the terrible live-action adaptation starring Susan Sarandon and John Goodman that was released in 2008. But that's not what I'm talking about, a fucked up live-action movie from 2008. But I prefer to discuss about the original Speed Racer series as well. And yeah, it's just how it is as well. I mean, Speed Racer not only is basically how I experienced, but it's also not only part of my anime recommendations, but I still enjoy this anime a lot. I don't care what the haters say, even though I criticize the trolls as well. But anyway, so that's how not only it got me into racing, but it's also my taste for other 70s racing anime, such as Machine Hayabusa and what's the name of that other anime from the 70s, which I remembered. I think that was called Aero Emblem Grand Prix no Taka. I forgot to and also the anime movie Redline, of how I acknowledged this one as well, because that's probably that was long before Machine Hayabusa and Aero Emblem Grand Prix no Taka as well. Anywho, for the thing about Speed Racer, there's also the 2-volume manga from 1966 to 1968 on here. Yeah, I basically never read the manga before, but I've heard about it. Yeah, because for Speed Racer X is like a remake of the original Speed Racer series in 1997, but for the original Speed Racer series, this capsulated only 52 episodes. And yes, this was brought over to the US when it was originally Mach Go Go Go, imported all the way from Japan, which is dubbed into the American market as well. They dubbed it to the series as Speed Racer as well, which you guessed it. Yeah, because besides the point away from the majority and criticisms on my previous anime reviews in the past that I have dealt with, Speed Racer is probably one of the greatest ubiquitous anime titles of the 60s, because kind of to extend to many others for the credibility. I mean, the character design, the characters' names changed in Speed Racer, I mean, Go Mifune is basically changed the name as Speed Racer in the English version because in the Japanese dub version is basically voiced by Katsuji Mori, but in the English dub is voiced by Peter Fernandez, which Peter Fernandez is the first English anime voice actor in the 1960s until he passed away on July 15th, 2010, which is may rest in peace as well. Yeah, because without Speed Racer, then anime will never be the same as what because that's the because I would not call Speed Racer a cartoon because it's basically animated by the Japanese company Tatsunoko Production, which because it's basically a Japanese anime, which has a lot to do as well. Because this has spawned into a 52 episode anime television series after it was adapted from the 2-volume manga as well. Even though because in Japan it's basically called Mach Go 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 as well. That's how the difference, because that's how I'm trying to figure out the point of how the English adaptation of Speed Racer anime as well, because the name Go Mifune is an homage to the Japanese film star Toshiro Mifune, but they re-Americanized the name as Speed Racer, which is the titular name of the same title of the name as well, because it's just how it is as well for Speed Racer particularly. The Mach 5 is basically a Speed Racer's race car thing with just basically with the number 5 on it with the large red letter M on there, because that's basically of how to explain what it is about Speed Racer. If you ever watched the original series, I mean, it's been a while since I've watched the original Speed Racer series as well, and yes, that's particularly the groundbreaking ones that have brought over to the American dub market. What I mean to the American market means they want to dub a Japanese anime imported from Japan in the 60s and becoming the first example of anime giving an English dub for a series like Speed Racer as well. Sprittle Racer is an Americanized name from the original Japanese name as Kurio Mifune, and same with the pet monkey Chim Chim, and the Japanese version is Sanpei as well. Yeah, that's basically names have been changed as well. Unlike most any other animes with Americanizing those names, but that's the point particularly. I mean, what is it? That's how the real thing is of how they wanted to re-Americanize names, particularly for an anime like Speed Racer when it was originally known for as Mach Go Go Go. That's the thing as well. And yes, this was also aired on Cartoon Network back in 1999, which was probably back in the late 90s. What Speed Racer was the first anime that was first aired on Cartoon Network back in the 90s as well. We do get to think, though, that there is also the anime movie adaptation, which is basically how the continuity of how Speed Racer has been basically wanted to have familiar ways as well. I mean, even though it has been rerun on several network channels in general. And there's also the American comic adaptation of Speed Racer in the 90s, which I don't think I've ever have a copy of one. And there is also the American television series called The New Adventures of Speed Racer, which is basically look more of a Americanized cartoon in Western animation instead of Japanese animation, which is basically the issues of how Warner Brothers having the live action rights resulted for the 2008 movie release of Speed Racer, which is the terrible live action movie that sucked when it was released in 2008. But that's not the point basically, which is the Wachowskis fucked up Speed Racer, how the live action was a box office failure as well. But for the thing about because I prefer the original Speed Racer anime because I don't care what anyone says, but it's still a classic anime from the sick. And yes, this was released on VHS by Family Home Entertainment in the 90s with the help of Streamline Pictures, particularly, which is back in the 90s, had a lot to do for this particular anime classic like Speed Racer, also known as Mach Go Go Go. I mean, without Speed Racer, anime would have never existed as well. I mean, that's just how it is of how they brought Speed Racer to the U.S. when it was originally known in Japan as Mach Go Go Go, and yeah, but that's the thing. But that's just how it is as well. Harmony Gold had a lot to do with Speed Racer TV series, the anime one. They made it as a compilation film produced by Streamline Pictures with Speed Racer Enterprises as well, because that's how they had a lot to do when they made Speed Racer series as well, which Jerry Beck had a lot to do with the compilation movie of Speed Racer, which had with the help of Streamline Pictures, and it was first released on DVD when it was first released on VHS back in the 90s as well. And yeah, that's how it is as well, because with their days at Harmony Gold, which is known for their work at Robotech, when they re-edited it as a series, as they made it as a feature film of how Speed Racer has been adapted as like a compilation movie with the help from Streamline Pictures back in the 90s, which Jerry Beck had a lot to do with. It wasn't up until Funimation acquired Speed Racer complete series for a DVD and Blu-ray release as well, because that's just how it is. I mean, and it's also available on Funimation if you want to watch it. So that's going to be it for my anime review on Speed Racer for today. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts for Speed Racer. When I first watched Speed Racer, I loved this series because it's a classic anime from the 60s as well. It's been a while since I borrowed it on DVD from the library. I mean, I think I want to rewatch it when I get the complete series on either DVD or Blu-ray, because this is a classic anime series. I don't care what anyone says, but love this anime classic from the 60s. It was as part of, your parents' generation back in the 60s as well.